Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lape. You and your partner just got engaged and you are so excited. You can't wait for your relationship to be official, for you guys to be married. Getting engaged is one of the most thrilling things that can happen to you, but the actual marriage is what matters most. The period you'll be married will be longer than the period you were engaged, at least hopefully it will be. So it makes more sense to put a lot of effort into the actual marriage than the engagement. When you're engaged, you're so in love with your partner that you can't imagine anything going wrong when you get married, but so often it does. That's why it's crucial to talk about certain things before you get married, and that's what this video is about. Today I'm going to be talking about the things you must talk to your partner about before you get married. The first thing you and your future spouse must talk about before you get married is money and responsibilities. Money is one of the most unromantic things in the world, yet it is often said that money is the #1 cause of divorce in couples. When the two of you are talking about money, don't just talk about monthly budgets and your opinions on loans. Get down into the nitty-gritty of the thing. Discuss things like who will pay the rent, who will pay school fees for the children, what will happen if the person who pays those things can't do them anymore. For example, if they fall ill or if they lose their job. Still on the topic of money and responsibilities, discuss things like, will you have a joint account? What exactly will you put in the joint account? In that, will you both put your entire salaries into the joint account, or will you put only percentages of your salaries into that account? If it is percentages, what percentage will each one of you put into that joint account? Discuss things like, what will the money in the joint account be used for? Who will cook meals for the family? Who will clean the house? And so on. You can see that there's a lot to talk about just when it comes to money and responsibilities. But take your time. You don't have to discuss every single thing in one day. But you should discuss most of these things before you get married. The second thing you and your partner should talk about before you get married is religion. Religion is a big part of some people's lives, but for others, it's not. Sometimes both types of people marry each other. But before you do, talk about your desires and expectations as regards religion. For example, do you expect your partner to change to your religion after you get married? If you're both of the same religion, do you want your partner to handle religion the same way you do? For example, do you expect them to go to church with you every Sunday if you're both Christian? If you have children, will you raise them to be religious? If the two of you have separate religions and you're happy to go into marriage like that, your children, will you raise them in a particular religion? Whose religion will you raise them in? The more important religion is to you, the more time you should spend discussing it before you get married. The third thing you and your future spouse should talk about before you get married is children. I've mentioned children several times in this video already, and they should be discussed extensively before a couple gets married. When talking about children, start with the discussion of genotype. If you are black, you probably have an idea of what genotype is and how important it is for you and your partner to know what your genotypes are. Please share your genotypes with each other before you get married. If your partner hides their genotype from you before you get married, that is a big red flag. Still on the topic of children, one of the first things you should talk about as a couple is if you even want children at all. If you want children and your partner doesn't, and you still want to get married, you may be setting yourself up for a big problem. If you both would like to have children after you get married, discuss how many children you would like to have and the parenting style you think you would like to use. One big point very few couples discuss before they get married is what would happen if they discover after they get married that they can't have children as a couple. I know that most couples are optimistic before they get married, but infertility is very common now. So it is absolutely crucial that the two of you talk about what you would do and how you would handle the situation if you discover after marriage that you cannot have children. The fourth thing you and your future spouse should talk about before you get married is in-laws. It's easy to think before you get married that in-laws aren't such a big issue, especially if you live far away from your relatives before you get married. Don't let it be after marriage that you discover how big a role in-laws can play in one's marriage. So you and your intended spouse should discuss if your in-laws will live with you. Fine, your in-laws will not live with you when you first get married, but what if one of your in-laws falls ill, loses their job, or relocates to the country that you are living in? Will they be able to live with you then? If you both agree that in-laws can't live with you permanently, will they be able to live with you for short periods of time? What exactly is short periods of time to the two of you? You actually have to discuss that length of time. What does it mean to the two of you? As regards in-laws, also discuss things like, with whose family would you spend major holidays? Would you spend alternate holidays with each other's families? The hope, of course, is that you will get along with your in-laws. To increase the chances of that happening, you and your intended partner need to discuss in-laws and how they could possibly affect your lives after you get married. The fifth thing you and your intended spouse should talk about before you get married is sex. It's funny how something that's supposed to be an enjoyable part of marriage is often not an enjoyable thing to talk about. But you know what? It's very important to talk about sex. And before you get married is probably the best time to talk about it, because then you are still so in love with your partner, you are enthralled with each other, and you haven't started annoying each other yet. So talk about sex. What kind of sex do you like? What kind of sex don't you like? What would you like to try as regards sex? What would you never in a million years want to try? Discuss sex before you get married so that you're less likely to be surprised after the wedding. When it comes to your future marriage, don't make any assumptions. Just because certain things happen in a particular way in your family doesn't mean that your partner would want things to happen in the same way when they get married to you. Discuss everything before you get married, no matter how embarrassed you feel, and you have a better chance of having a marriage that will last a lifetime. I hope you found this video helpful. For more love and relationship content that you'll find here on my channel, listen to my podcast. Subscribe and listen to my podcast for free by going to www.billy.com/Lape's podcast. If you want regular tips from me on how to be happy while you're single and how to navigate the world of relationships, then follow me on Instagram. I've written a lot of books for the single man and woman over the age of 30. These books are about love and relationships. If you want to get any of them, just go to www.billy.com/Lape's books. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up below, share with your friends, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the red subscribe button you'll see down below, or by clicking on my picture that you'll see somewhere on the screen. After you subscribe, remember to click on the bell that you'll see there so that you'll be notified as soon as a new video of mine comes out. I wish you love and strength.